Hello, the name's Constable Charlie, and don't worry, I'm not going to shoot you. I don't even own a gun.
What? Why not?
Because luckily for you, my drunken tourist friend, in 2021, American police shot and killed 1,054 people, while British police shot 2.
Whew! Good thing I got arrested here.
Did you know that instead of interrogations, British police do interviews? We're not even allowed to lie to the suspect about the evidence we have.
No guns? No interrogations? This sounds like exactly the kind of woolly pinko nonsense I'd expect from a bunch of tea-sipping dandies.
Unlike the US model of law enforcement, we have a thing we call policing by consent. It states that constables are citizens in uniform, quote, who are paid to give full-time attention to duties which are incumbent upon every citizen in the interest of community welfare and existence. And basically, don't be a dick, but in old-timey language.
But if you can't lie or shoot every problem in the face, what can you do? Are you all like super trained kung fu ninjas? Because if not, I'm about to get away with all the crimes.
I wish. When I joined, all I got was 16 weeks of training, only 3 days of which centered on officer safety. Our weapons of war are an extendable metal stick called an asp and a tin of aggressive hairspray we call CS.
Sounds like you'd be better off with Taco Bell sauce in a spray bottle. Oh my god. Somebody call Taco Bell. I'm about to make $1 billion.
Well, they did technically teach us how to disarm suspects wielding knives and guns, but honestly, the one lesson every half-decent copper learns is that the most important piece of officer safety equipment we have is talk. Training always hammered home de-escalation and Bentari's box.
That looks more like something a hippie would share on Facebook than police policy.
Thankfully for your whole free body, it's what we bobbies use instead of guns to persuade 6-foot lumps of psychotic anger like you to put down the lamppost and sleep it off.
But surely you'd like to have a gun, right? To make you feel safe and to have something to snuggle at night when you're cold and lonely.
Given the option to carry a firearm on patrol, most London cops would emphatically refuse. Don't get me wrong, it's a fairly common topic of conversation, and there are always new, young, gung-ho types who think we need guns, but they're usually the exact kinds of people you don't want waving metal death wingers around. I remember a grizzled old sweat listening to a young pup talking about how we should all be issued Glocks at once.
Son, no sensible authorized firearms officer would trust you with f***ing string, let alone a shooter.
So that was that for his dreams of hot fuzz.
But okay, what do you do in an actual confrontation?
Well, again, unlike in America, police in the UK are held accountable for each and every action.
That sucks.
If I get my asp out and wave it in a threatening manner, I legally have used force and had damn well better write some notes to justify it. If I ever so much as drew a taser from its holster and pointed it, best believe I'd be writing a novella's worth of notes. Fire the dratted thing or use the CS, and my notes will take longer to finish than Winds of Winter.
So you're saying using words lets you work less? I can get behind that, actually.
One time, I was called to perform a welfare check on some lunkhead in the park, and I walked up to a 6-foot-plus guy, clearly agitated, who was watching children play football in the park while my radio chirped up with things like,
"Oh, he carries weapons, very anti-police, mental health issues, took 6 officers to restrain him last time."
Now, I'm 5'8" in good shoes and 14 stone of mostly kebab and Guinness.
14 stone?
196 pounds, you bloody simpleton.
Now this is why we fought that war.
Anyway, backup was a ways out, and retreating was not an option because the subject was so close to the children. If you can't go big, you have to go subtle. So I put my hands in my pockets and sauntered over. As soon as he saw my uniform, he went from 0 to 60. I could see now he wasn't much over 18. Also, he dropped his trousers and started shouting.
Well, go on then. F***ing search me. I know you want to.
Not really, Squire. I was pretty much hoping not to have to take my hands out of my pockets today.
You what?
You got anything naughty on you?
F***ing search me. Find out.
Your word's good enough for me. Got some folks here worried about you, though.
Ain't you gonna cuff me up?
Hadn't planned to. You want to do anything that'll need cuffing?
No.
Well then, all settled. Let's get you to a hospital, shall we?
God, no handcuffs, no shouting, and no guns? What, did you stop for tea on the way to the hospital?
A gentleman never tells. He got treatment at the local mental health wing and was fine until the next time he went off his meds, which he did. And the next cops called him went too big, and the dude broke one of their arms and bit a finger nearly clean off.
Hell yeah, brother, that's more like it. But okay, if there's anything I've learned from right-wing YouTubers, it's that banning guns doesn't mean criminals won't get guns. And also that for a limited time only, I can get an incredible testosterone-building supplement for only $39.99 with promo code ALPHAMALE.
Right, well, in my experience with shooters, they've always been brought in alive and very unhappy with their decisions. One silly boy decided to evade a search by shooting at task force, our plainclothes cars. The shooter was in custody 16 hours later, and one of the officers he had shot at dropped by, and they had the kind of chat you'd expect from two geezers in the pub.
But what if you already know they've got a gun? Like it's an active situation.
That's when we call in Trojan.
The condoms?
No, basically our version of SWAT. These boys and girls are incredibly well trained with a gun. If the wheels do come off, they are exactly the people you want coming over the hill. I would take a small handful of highly trained professionals over giving every copper a Glock and a few days training any day of the week.
Speak for yourself. My cousin Gary can do some sick twirls with his Glock.
That's my whole point. This system works because the majority of regular people just don't have guns. We don't have very many cousin Garys.
Oh man, you're lost.
On occasion, there is an actual shooting, and then we have a bit more to do, but the active shooters and the mass shootings are so vanishingly rare as to be negligible. This is, I believe, wholly due to the fact that the UK had the tragedy of the Dunblane shooting, in which an unhinged shooter killed 16 children and one adult. But almost immediately, we banned all handguns in private hands and severely restricted sales, use, and carry. That was 20 years ago, and there hasn't been a mass shooting since.
That's probably why you guys suck at Olympic shooting events now.
A price I'm willing to pay.
But seriously, don't you guys ever get injured? Or is it too hard to punch and fire machine guns with your pinkies sticking out?
The vast majority of injuries on duty are from fists, feet, impacts with pavement, and very occasionally knives and improvised weapons. Since no one is going to get shot, both cop and criminal can get into a good, healthy fight. I love the fact that I never have to strap on a gun and make that kind of decision in the heat of the moment. Guns reduce very complicated decisions to the simplest of choices, and that is something I am eternally glad I don't have to be a part of.
So, are you saying you want to fight?
Wouldn't want to hurt my pinky, giving you a concussion.
Oh, I'm American. We don't believe in concussions.